Hey everybody, welcome back in to Sports Live in the 215. I just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours. Today we'll discuss the Flyers season so far. They're 10-10-3. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Um, Early in the year, they had some struggles. Obviously, um, first time out against Washington, they were absolutely boat raced. They just kind of, or their home opener against Washington, they got absolutely boat raced. They just didn't come to play in that one. But I I feel like they've responded really well. They've had a bunch of great moments like that Morgan Frost goal last night, with 11 seconds to go in the third period. That is a cold-blooded, really like a cold-blooded redirection. And it was just a great anticipatory play by him to kind of sense where the puck was going to be and get the puck on his tape, and that was it was it was really good to see. And then Cootsie with the winner in overtime. It's it's big for him because early this year and last year he was in the doghouse with Torts. So that's huge for him to kind of gain the confidence of his head coach. And you you need to have the confidence of your head coach. If you're gonna have a letter on your jersey, whether it's football or hockey, you gotta have the confidence of the head guy. Um, and Cootsie's starting to kind of earn some trust with John Tortorella, so that's good to see. Um, one thing I wanted to discuss is how or the impact of Matvey Michkov. He has 17 points on the season, which trails everyone's favorite pest, Travis Konechny, by um, by 10 points. But of course, it's still early in the year. Plenty of time for Matt Bay to catch up. And I genuinely think he he can become the first Flyer to ever win Rookie of the Year. That's a crazy stat that my dad Tommy and I found out when we were out to dinner last night at the Cove out here in Brigantine. Um, like no Flyers rookie has ever won Rookie of the Year. See, I would have thought like Eric Lindros or Bobby Clark would have won Rookie of the Year, but I guess not. Um, well, I guess in I think in in that same draft class as Bobby Clark, he I think he might have been in the same draft class as Bobby Orr. So that would make some sense why he didn't win Rookie of the Year. But hopefully Matt Vey can um break the almost like 60-year streak of no Flyers. Um yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this kid develops, and he legitimately has the talent to save Flyers hockey in Philadelphia and really make it like a citywide spectacle. Like in a few years, I don't think you're gonna want to miss a Flyers game at the center. Because right now they have like their little like family fan base. They're hardcore fans, but I really I really want I really want these young kids to be able to play together and grow, and it's going to be a fun next like 5, 10, 15 years. Um, one of the things I brought up with my brother Tommy, who you guys have seen on the pod in our early days of it, when he was hosting it with me. His I can just I can totally see like Matvey Michkov asking to be like mentored by Alex Ovechkin, just because they're from the same country and they probably had some similar experiences. Like they were both number one picks. Obviously, Matvey wasn't 1-1 like Alex Ovechkin was, but he was a highly sought after player, and so some would say the second best player in the draft, but teams didn't draft him because they were afraid he wouldn't come over to America for like 5 years. So like and I think what worked out to the Flyers' advantage was being, I believe, the only team, and I could be wrong. So if I am wrong, I apologize. You can correct me in the comments. But I believe the Flyers were the only team to to hire like a Russian scout to just like watch his games when he was in the excuse me. Oh my god. When Matvey Michkov was in the KHL. So that was a huge asset. That's it's a great hire right there by Tortsy and Jonesy, or not Torts and Keith Jones and Nanny Bria. That's what I meant. But yeah, that definitely worked to their advantage, and I can definitely see the the top two players in this past or in 2023's draft being being guys who compete against each other in Stanley Cups. That being Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks, who has a great first name, by the way, and Matvey Michkov. I can totally see them just going at it in Stanley Cup Finals for years to come. Obviously, Chicago is a bit more behind in their rebuild process than maybe the Flyers. But yeah, yeah, my sorry, my camera's kind of bugging out. But yeah, hopefully we get to see the Bedard Michkov rivalry, and hopefully it'll be much better than Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel. And I don't believe Jack Eichel in his like 8 or 9 years in the NHL has ever even made the playoffs. So that's hardly a rivalry. And I know Bedard and Michkov and Eichel and McDavid have played in separate conferences for a long time, but I'm so excited to see if the see if we can get a rematch of 2010, maybe even like 2 or 3 times over, and we can just have two of the best players of two of the best like up and coming players of this generation really go at it for 7 games. One thing I really wanted to touch on is the um the uh more relaxed demeanor of Torts when it comes to his young players. Like he's not he's obviously still getting on them if they make mistakes, but he's maybe a little bit more willing to kind of coach them up, and he knew what his assignment was when he came in to Philadelphia. We needed to go on a full rebuild, and he really needed to be patient, which is something that is not very it's not very uh prototypical. I don't know any other word to describe it of John Tortorella. Like it's not very it's not really his style. Like he's a very fiery, intense coach, and some some players some players respond to that. Some players love a good kick in the ass, but but some guys will maybe wilt. Not to say that the guys that don't respond to it are soft, but maybe you got to handle them with more not like kid gloves, but with more care. Like whenever they make mistakes, you got to be like, hey, it's all right. Um, like just focus on the next shift. And I feel like he's done a tremendous job of that. Because when he was with teams like New York, um, Montreal for a while, maybe Toronto, LA, like he was so quick to get on his players if they made mistakes, and it's good to see that in his older age his fuse has gotten longer, and on a developing team these guys need kind of a longer fuse. Like you don't want to blow up at them when they make one mistake, because then they're gonna hesitate, and then they're not gonna play as fast and free. And for these especially the young guys, for these young guys to really want to play for you, you're gonna need them to play fast, play free, play physical whenever they have an opportunity to hit somebody. Like they're not gonna hesitate and then end up like getting hurt or something because you're like screaming at them for being too aggressive. So I think Torts has done a tremendous job with that side of the game, and he's gotten better at it with age, and most older people, like their patience grows as they get older. Like it's really really good to see that he's kind of become more patient, if I can talk. Um, hold on a second. Um, yeah, like I just I think that's good to see in any young team. And like I'm or with any like older coach who is um maybe maybe working with a younger team. um but yeah, I'm really excited to see how Torts can continue to kind of grow in this sort of mentor role for these young guys, and I'm sure Cootsie will be his voice on the ice, and then when they're in film room or practice, Torts will take over then. But yeah, like sometimes young players um need guys who who will get on their ass, but also put their arm around them and say, hey man, like it's it. And then yeah, I I think Torts has done a tremendous job with that, and the players are really responding to him, which is I believe a key in any rebuilding scenario. You want your young players to freaking I'm sorry, I can't curse. I got the little ones in the next room. I don't want them hearing swear words. Like you want those young players to freaking run through a run through a brick wall for you. Like they wouldn't care if it was hailstorm, gunfire, or whatever it is. And Torts is, again, he's done a tremendous job with being that kind of guider, and allowing these guys to kind of like be themselves and be comfortable, which is huge for the confidence of any player, but especially a young team. This is, I believe, one of the youngest clubs in all of the NHL, and Torts has done an absolutely tremendous job. And I'm so excited to see where it goes. With one guy who's been the absolute MVP of the Flyers so far is your points leader with 27 points. Philadelphia's favorite pest, Travis Konecny. He's just been all over the ice, whether it's hitting people, whether it's chirping, whether it's scoring goals, getting assists, maybe taking the occasional penalty when someone like messes with one of our young guys, and he's really taken the older brother role kind of seriously, and that's so good to see. Another guy I want to give a shout out to is Matvei Michkov. That guy, like I said at the top of the show, has the potential to save Flyers hockey in Philadelphia. Not that they're in any jeopardy of moving, but he can really make hockey a citywide sport again. And just like Gagne, Hartnell, Jeff Carter, Danny Briere, ironically enough, and those boys did back in the day. Did back in 09, 2010, 2011, and things like that. So, having Matvei and Tyson Forrester, Owen Tippett, Owen Tippett, Joel Farabee, Emil Andre, who recently got his first National Hockey League goal, and that was really big. That was nice to see. And all these young guys are just, they're going to continue to grow and develop with the guidance of Torts, the guidance of Danny B and Jonesy, and with a leader like Couttsy, who learned from Claude Giroux. And when I say Couttsy, I'm referring to Sean Couturier. But his nickname is Couttsy. But anyway, yeah. This team is, they're fun, man, and they're like, I know it's early in the season, but it seems like they're starting to kind of round into form. And early in the year there were a lot of growing pains, which it was frustrating to watch. And I'm actually hoping I can get some money together to get NHL Center Ice, so I can watch more of the Flyers games, because like I feel like this is the most fun part of any rebuild, where your young players are coming up, they're mingling with veterans, and like all these ingredients are starting to pile into the recipe, and it's beautiful. It's really gonna be beautiful to watch, and hopefully they create a delicious recipe for years to come. Had to give a little Thanksgiving nod at the end of this pod. Yeah, and hopefully they can kind of continue to keep this forward momentum and build off the build off the Sean Couturier overtime goal. And that's always what you want your captain to do, is just lead by example. So the C or the A on their chest isn't just a letter that's on their chest. Like they've actually earned those that respect from their coaches and their teammates. And he learned under G how to be a leader. Like he was the second line center on a lot of those mid 2000s Flyers teams that were obviously um, manned by Claude Giroux. He was your 1C for maybe I want to say close to 7 or close to like 14 years, 13 years. You guys can of course correct me in the comments. But yeah, Cootie's really showing himself to be a tremendous leader, and that's really really awesome to see. And I'm just excited to see where this all goes. And oh yeah, one more thing before I I get out of here and enjoy the rest of these football games is the demotion of Jet Luchenko to the to junior hockey. I think it's a good move. He was your first round pick, and I know Torts wanted him to play at the NHL level, and he felt like he could, but and Torts felt like he could play, but he was kind of struggling maybe mentally, and that was affecting his physical game. And I think it was a great move by Jonesy and Danny B to say, hey kid, take a breath, get some more playing time down in juniors, and we'll see you back up here at after you get a little more seasoning. Like don't worry about what happened the first 10 games. We believe in you. And obviously like hopefully that's how Jet Luchenko looks at it. Hopefully he doesn't see it as they don't believe in me, this is a demotion. Hopefully he sees it as I need to develop, so when I get back there I can contribute to the big club. And hopefully that's the attitude he takes. And in hearing the guy speak in interviews, that's just the attitude he seemed to go with. So that's always great to see. And it's going to be exciting to see how not only this year but the next couple years shakes out. And with that being said, happy Thanksgiving again, and let's go Flyers.